Yep.
But I think about this and how you live here now. This is a completely different way of life.
Completely.
It feels like.
I said, I want to swing, and he said, well, this one here I usually use. Just meaning like, hey, get next to me, there's plenty.
Yeah.
If I kick his ass. So if you look in the distance, you'll see a place called DJ's. So DJ's is a famous icon here in the Jersey Shore.
Wed weekend kickoff.
Yes, and yes it is.
Oh my
whoever
gosh.
it is, sell it to me for $1, I'll make good. I'll reopen the breakfast. A small house there is 3.5. And I was constantly struggling as to what I was good at. You know that, you heard me on the show. On any show I went on, I'd always be like, well, you know, they'd be like, he goes to me, you'll always be the heart and soul of this organization, the conscience of this organization. That's the problem with today's youth. The kid didn't move. You see that? The kid didn't move. Entitled shit. So we'd walk up here and we'd spend the entire day on the beach. Where we walked from on the bridge going over, we would snorkel. Over there, snorkel with spearfish. It just was a wonderful place to be. We're gonna stay on the sidewalk because I want to show you a landmark here at the Jersey Shore. It's up a couple blocks.
It's crazy because I think about, because you lived in Newark, right?
Yes.
That was where you guys lived.
Yes.
And I think about like a city, like there's so much, my perspective, there's so much anxiety. There's so much just chaos.
Yep.
There's a lot there. There's a lot of good, great restaurants, great people, all that.
Yep.
But I think about this and how you live here now. It's like, this is a completely different way of life.
Completely.
It feels like.
Completely. And just, you know, it would take a minute when you went back, even if once in a blue moon, we would have to go back for a night to Newark. It would be something going on. Hey, Dad and Mom have to go here. It was very rare because my mother wasn't leaving here either. She loved it. So we would get in the car, and the ride home, you would think that we were just going to hell, you know? The ride home was like, why do we have to do this? Like, and we were coming back the next morning. It wasn't like we were going for weeks. And we come back, and as soon as you made the turn coming down these streets, you smelled the ocean, right?
Wow.
Like, we're home, baby. We're home, you know? And, you know, we would just be thrilled to death. About when I was in 4th grade, we moved from Newark to Roseland, which was a suburb in Essex County. So I had a little bit more of like this there.
Yes, okay.
The friendships, the people. I can remember the first day, one of the first days I showed up in Roseland, I went across the street to the park to see what that looked like. And there was a kid and he was sitting on the swing, and I said, I want to swing. And he said, well, this one here I usually use. Just meaning like, hey, get next to me, there's plenty. If I kicked his ass. Because I didn't know any better, you know? And so I get home and my dad's like, how was it? I said, oh my God, the park's great. We got all kinds of stuff. And that's the problem with today's youth. The kid didn't move. You see that? The kid didn't move. Entitled shit. Anyway, so
move out of the way.
So move out of the damn way. I'm a man, for God's sake. I deserve that. So anyway, we're sitting there unpacking, and this man and his son show up at the door, and I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, that's the kid I just punched out. And he's like, the guy's like, hey, I think your son just punched my son. And my dad goes, did you? And I go, I did. And he goes, why? I go, because he was sitting on the swing. And the kid goes, no, I was just telling you. And he's bleeding, and my dad goes, hey, this is why we moved. You don't have to do that anymore. I was like, oh, that's even better. And then we became great friends. And we still are. So it's kind of like a weird dynamic to change. But here was always my grounding. I think my parents too. I think they had the best years here. I know my sister was here with her kids. We actually, it moved forward through generations. Like my nephews and nieces know that place. I wish my kids did, but they don't. I wish we kept it, but we didn't. So just all decisions that get made along the way, right?
It's so fascinating though, because it's like a full circle though for you. It's
full
like
circle.
All the childhood was here, and then you had all your life in between, work, career, busyness, chaos, and it's like you're back to here.
Excuse us. Thank you. It's adorable. So if you look in the distance, you'll see a place called DJ's. So DJ's is a famous icon here in the Jersey Shore. It's like been here. We used to sneak in when I was 15 and 16 and get served.
Oh my God.
And then when I was a cadet, we would come down here and have weekends down here. I'd bring the guys. Oh man, what a shit show. I wouldn't go anywhere near that except for one day. It's usually Memorial Day, Monday, late. I go and I have a drink on the porch. That's it. I won't go inside because it's nuts.
Too many memories.
Nuts. Too many memories. But this stuff was all, you know, if you look back, I'm trying to think, no, it's going to be up a little further. We'll go there and then we'll turn around. There's a small little boarded up shack. Used to be called Lordot's. Lorraine and Dorothy's. They were an old couple. I think they were probably lesbian before it was, you know, widely known. And they were like two moms to me.
Yeah.
We would come up here, my cousins and I, come up here, and they served breakfast only. It was open from like 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's it. And only in the summer.
Yeah.
So come up here and we just have, you know, we'd have eggs and pancakes and home fries and sausage and bacon.
Oh.
And they would treat us like $1 million. And I think I could remember my dad and my uncles would take turns paying for our breakfast. So they would send us with a $5 bill, and for 6 of us, they'd give us change.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, after the tip. There it is, it's up there. You see it boarded? It's in the distance a little bit. This is DJ's here, so.
DJ's Wed Weekend Kickoff.
Yes, and yes it is.
$3, $4, $5
$3,
drinks.
$4 beers. I mean,
Dude,
drinks.
look at that. American flags.
With only the best vodka. Yeah, they have, so Boomer and Carton.
Okay.
On Memorial Day Friday, it's a tradition. They shut this whole place down. They do their show right from this parking lot. It's amazing. Wow. So yeah, there's Lord Ice.
Oh, dude.
There it is.
Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh.
They've never moved it. I don't know. I think the family still owns it and just hasn't gotten the right offer.
Wow.
They're holding out. I think they just want to like.
This could be ridiculous.
Dude, think of the house that can go there. Like prime spot.
On the corner.
On the corner. In Belmar. So
oh my
whoever
gosh.
it is, sell it to me for $1. I'll make good. I'll reopen the breakfast.
Bring back the memories.
We'll do security and breakfast.
Security and breakfast.
Security, leadership training, and breakfast. DiOrio's new job. You know?
Oh my gosh. So we're still in Belmar.
All right, so look straight ahead.
Yeah.
We'll cross the street and then we'll look.
Yeah.
We'll head back over. Straight ahead, you can see arches.
Yeah.
That's Spring Lake.
Okay.
That's when the world changes. Yeah, that's like exclusively rich. Yeah, so like, I mean, a small house there is 3.5.
So does it look like this over there or no?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It does, okay.
Beaches are better.
But the people in terms of crowd factor, like
Not a lot of people go there. I think they monitor their crowds. I really do. I don't know that. I don't want to get anybody in Spring Lake in trouble because my future daughter-in-law is from Spring Lake. But I think they monitor it.
So you know what?
There's nothing going on. You can't get lunch or anything there. There's no stores, no commercial.
So you know what shocked me here about New Jersey? I couldn't believe this.
Yeah.
There's people here waiting for you to go onto the beach. Okay. And I came here with my surfboard and I was running across, I was trying to get in the water and they're like, hey, come back here. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what's up? Yeah. They're like, where's your ticket? Or whatever. And I was like, do you have to pay to go to the beach?
Yes.
I had never experienced that. Yeah. And there's some state parks where you have to park, but like you could easily walk in. Yeah. But I was like, no, I'm going to the water.
This is all paid all the way down.
But this is where I'm like, I'm happy to pay it because the beaches are clean.
Oh, it's
like that's where I'm like, our tax dollars are going to somewhere.
Somewhere good.
Somewhere good because look, it's clean. There's no trash.
That's right. And it's only seasonal money here.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. They don't charge for parking in the off season, right? So the township, the borough of Belmar, has to make their money through this. The tax base is what it is.
No way.
It never changes. There's no new businesses coming in, so they're not attracting new business. As a matter of fact, they're just changing them over most of the time. You know, like DJ's is long term, but maybe Dunkin' Donuts is closed. They put a Jersey Mike's up on the boardwalk up here.
Yeah.
But that's seasonal, so.
So they just close it during the winter?
Yeah, just come October, it's closed. You can't get a sub until June.
So during the summer, it's booming so much, it makes up for the rest of it?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. You know, I mean, it's a corporate store, so they're willing to take that chance. The corporation is, you know, so. My brother was also very, he represented a rock, you know, a security. He's 10 years older. He was security for me, you know. My sister, 12 years older than me. Yeah. They treated me like I was, you know, they were my second parents. Wow. Honestly. So
hey, they mess with Jim, they mess with me.
That's exactly it. You got to get through me first, you know. So it was a cool way to grow up as a kid, and then having my cousins that were my age, and so many friends down here, like our friends, and we still stay in touch. Yeah. With the friends, you know, like my first girlfriend, we were probably in 7th and 8th grade. I still keep in touch with her. She was instrumental in helping my daughter get an interview for a job now that my daughter's been in for 12 years that she loves. So think about that, right? Like, you think about relationships, and we talk about relationships and helping people find their purpose, and I was constantly struggling as to what I was good at. You know that. You heard me on the show, on Julian's show, and Danny's show, on any show I went on. I'd always be like, well, you know, they'd be like, explain what J3 Global does. And I'd be like, we do assessments. We help people find their purpose. Yeah. That's what we do. DiOrio's, I'm a leader by trade. Yeah. I went to the finest leadership institution in the history of the world, West Point. I went into the FBI, which has struggled, but it still has some pretty good rank and file leadership.
Yeah.
Right? So I was able to give my leadership to those people who struggled because of my experience at West Point, right? Now, why would I do anything else at 60?
Yeah.
And I've got a 12-year plan. This isn't going away until I'm 72.
Oh, wow.
So good luck. You know, come out and you better get on my radar quick because I might be filled up. Like Andy says, you might no longer be available, you know? So it's good stuff.
It's crazy just how
I get to wear this great shirt.
The everyday spy.
Yeah.
I just love how, like, we're talking about the communities here. I love this. They're bumping the music.
Love it.
But how, you know, obviously community and relationships seem like the big thing for you, but also it seemed like a very Jersey thing. Like when you think of New Jersey, you think of what? The Sopranos, you think of these things where it's like, what is it? It's very family, it's very community. Maybe it's a lot of the Italian.
Yeah.
And it's how, like, you'd come down here, you had your friends, all your family would be there on that road you grew up on.
Yep.
Then you go back to Newark, and like I think that played a huge role, especially into your relationship building now, where it's like when you connect people, when you help people find their purpose.
Dude, that's exactly it.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat to see because like that's the one skill I remember Julian was being like, you know, Jim knows anybody. Like you need somebody, he's got it. And it's like I can see it now hearing you talk about it with how you grew up. You were just kind of made for that. You were made for just creating the relationships, being able to help people figure out what they need, where to get them to, and seeing the value in them.
100%, man. Like my friend Anthony DeToto, who's passed, but DeToto used to call it colliding people. You know, so he wasn't a believer in just making an intro.
Yeah.
He believed in smashing you into each other, so you had no choice but to interact. And I love that about him. We miss him.
Yeah.
He tells one of the greatest West Point reception day stories, because reception day was yesterday.
Okay.
So the new class reports in July 1st.
Oh,
Class 28 came in yesterday. So I wish those kids and young men and women the best. They're going to do fine. You're going to be okay. Trust me. And the friends you're with right today, your second day at West Point, will be your friends when you're my age, 60 years old. Guaranteed.
Wow.
So DeToto tells this story, and it's true. So every class, usually in the evening of our day, they go down to, or the next day, they go down to Eisenhower Hall. No surprise, it's called Eisenhower Hall, right? I call. And they sit the whole class in there, and there's like 1,400 of you in there. And the superintendent, whoever it is at the time, 3-star general, he'll stand up and he'll say, hey, welcome to the United States Military Academy. You should be honored that you're here. But I'd like you right now to look left and look right. One of those people will not be here when you graduate.
Oh, jeez.
And if it's neither of them, then it's you. And, you know, it like wakes you up. And then he would say, okay, when I call out something that you've done in your life, I'd like you to stand up and stay standing. So he says, all varsity team captains, please stand up. Boatload of people stand, right?
Yeah.
Look around. All National Honor Society people stand up. Boatload of people stand up. All Boys State and Girls State stand up. They stand up. All Eagle Scouts stand up. Everybody stand up. All valedictorians. All people who max their SAT or ACT, people are standing up. And so when Toto tells the story, he's like, superintendent looked around, he scanned the area, and he said, okay, now, Anthony DeToto, you can go ahead and stand up now too.
All right, you got permission now.
Yeah. So he would tell it, and it would just be, you know, you would chuckle, but you'd look at that guy and be like, hey, you might not have done any of those things.
Yeah.
But dog, you are the guy who holds the class together, you know, and
he made it through.
He made it through. He's class of 91 guy, passed early from a massive heart attack, very overweight guy, just really never took it seriously, and it caught him. But when I think about my class 86, pretty incredible class, right? We got people from all over the world, and we got people that have done crazy things. So yeah, now take it to another level where we're talking about my class 86. So we have everything from major CEOs, major politicians, dudes who won the Kentucky Derby, guys who were Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, probably a guy that's going to run for president in 2028.
Wow.
And we look at that, and then there's guys like me and Shane Downey and Stan Olsen, you know, just amazing group. But there was one dude in our class that's kind of just different. And I talk about this all the time. You've heard me talk about this, Alessi, but Johnny McHugh. So Johnny McHugh, what I just talked about figuring out over the course of 60 years, John McHugh had it figured out by the time he was 20.
Wow.
See, so we never heard him because we just figured, you know, come on, Mac, you know, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's not what it's all about. It's about this and this and making a lot of money and being this and having a car and having a house and all good things. I'm not saying they're bad things.
Yeah.
But they're not things that he strove for, and he lived his life in a different purpose. So finding your purpose is so important, and the earlier you can do it, the better. So now I look at McHugh, you know, we stayed in touch. I mean, he was a childhood friend.
Yeah.
He grew up down the street from me in Roseland. He was in West Caldwell. We went to rival high schools, so we played against each other a lot. We both got into West Point at the same time. So think about that. That just doesn't happen.
Wait, real quick, how many people from your area got into West? It's so selective, I know. So it was just you two in the whole North Jersey area?
So there's probably more, but I just don't know who they were.
Yeah.
I can name a couple, like Matty Rattel and Louis Capizzuto and some of those guys that are in my class.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, it's a pretty selective place, you know. So nowadays, New Jersey gets, only because we have a guy by the name of Vinny Camissa, who is our coordinator for the state. And Camissa is pretty much, Camissa's amazing. Camissa's gotten 90 plus dudes from New Jersey in. Now, when you think about, there's only 1,400 in a class.
Yeah.
But he's got 10% from New Jersey, from the small state of New Jersey in. So we're ruling the day up there. New Jersey kids are ruling the day, and I know so many of them. Matter of fact, Kristen, my girlfriend, her son is there. I actually mentored him through.
Wow.
So that's how I met Kristen years ago. But
oh my God.
I was married, she was dating, so it was impossible to kind of put ourselves together. But look where we fell right back into it last September.
Beautiful.
And it's a great thing. You know, after my recovery and her recovery, we kind of just came back together.
Real quick, I just want to acknowledge just how the celebration of the Marine Academy. Right
how about that?
Like, you don't see that much today.
That's a great service academy too.
Yeah. Things like that, though, like, you don't see
people don't
things
do
like that. It's like, if you graduate from Westport or something like that, like, you see people graduate, you graduate high school.
Yeah.
Honor student parent. You see that stuff.
But
like, something of, like, service.
Yep.
It's not talked about enough.
There's a female naval aviator. Think about it. You don't see that every day either.
No.
She's going into combat, bro.
No.
That's amazing.
And this is what I loved about the New Jersey town tiers.
Yeah.
Where we're by
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is in Bridgewater. The hero is John Basilonie.
Oh, it's the best.
And it's like, I only know it because I see the John Basilonie high school field.
Yep.
John Basilonie this and that. And I watched this show called The Pacific.
Isn't that that's a great show.
And it really did him justice. Oh my gosh. It totally did him justice. And it's like, in the towns, they have the actual flags on the poles of all the service people at the time. And I'm like, dang, like,
it's amazing.
We've gone so far away from it, but these towns still have it, where it's like, they're the heroes of the town. Like, that's how it feels. Like, you're walking down the Hall of Fame of Bridgewater, Hall of Fame of this town.
It's incredible. They do it here too, in Allaman.
That's awesome.
So Basilonie's grandson, maybe even great-grandson, is a court clerk for a federal judge in Trenton.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And an amazing guy. And just like, I imagine that's what his grandfather was.
Yeah.
Who he is. Because he's he's a gentleman, and he takes care of everybody in that courthouse, regardless of who you are and what you've done. Pretty cool dude.
That's so neat.
But for me, thinking about McHugh, you know, like I said, West Point buddies, Army buddies, and then we kind of just weren't around each other, but we talked to each other a lot. And we stick close with a small group of guys. Yeah. And May 18, 2010, he goes over for what probably was going to be his last tour in Afghanistan, anywhere. Yeah. And he gets hit by a suicide bomber and killed.
Oh, jeez.
So with 17 other dudes, servicemen, there was actually a Canadian colonel, there's a bunch of other guys that got killed. And so we look at each other, our group, and we kind of say to each other, like, and Tony Guzzi, who's the CEO of MCOR and just a dear friend, a great person, a great human being. He stood by my side through thick and thin these last 2 years. And Guzzi says, we got to do something. So John has 5 kids that he left behind. So we put together a golf tournament too. We raised some money. We raised about 180 grand. We were just talking about
raise some money
over the course of 3 years, though, right?
It's still incredible.
So we feel like we have their kids squared away. Yeah. Right. We felt good about that. We talked to Connie, his widow, and everything felt decent, right? But I don't know, there was something missing. Like, we hadn't done enough. So 2 other, but Tony, who I talked to about, and Steve Cannon, who was the CEO of Mercedes-Benz at the time, a classmate, a dear friend, my company mate, and a Jersey guy, a Wyckoff Remco High School guy. So Cannon says, hey, he calls me on my birthday. I think it was my 50, it had to be my 51st birthday. And he says, New Year's Eve, it was New Year's Eve 2014. And he says, dude, we got to do more, man.
Really?
Mind if I take this to another level, like start a foundation in John's name? I said, well, I'm not going to stand in your way.
Yeah.
Just keep me. He goes, He goes to me, you'll always be the heart and soul of this organization, the conscience of this organization.
Wow.
He says, but we're going to start enrolling. Well, they had dreams to raise tons of money. And me, I'm thinking like, how are you going to do that? People don't care about the military.
Yeah.
People don't care about what people are doing or kids left behind. They care about themselves.
Interesting.
Long story short is our first event was in April of that year, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was April 3rd of 2015. We had it in Houston, Texas. We were nervous. We're like, I wonder how much we're going to raise. If we raise $250,000, it's going to be a great night. We could help out, probably 8 or 9 kids left behind during the war on terror.
Wow.
For their education. We raised 1.4 that night. And we have never looked back. We've raised over $45 million since 2015.
Holy moly.
And so we are close to paying for every single child left behind on the war on terror's college education. Everyone. Not just 1 or 2 or 100. Everyone.
See, this is what I'm talking about is like this foundation that you're a part of.
Yeah.
It only happened because of the relationships you built and the connections where it's like, who's going to be the guy that's going to be like, hey, I want to take it to another level.
Yep.
That's someone that knows you and knows what you are in your character and taking to the next level. And if you want to throw a little, be a little Bible thumper, that's like, that's just the Lord leading you, just being like, absolutely, take your connections. You know what you're capable of. That is your gift, is being able to bring people together, connect, and like you said, find their passion. And then 100%. You just like highlight them and it's like, all right, now go run off and do it. That's just so crazy.
You're right though, and it's kind of like purpose is defined. And when you said, you asked a question earlier, hey, when you look back on things in your life, do you find those God wings?
Yeah. And
I do in those things. Because I remember being like at peace with him saying, normally I'd be like, hey, dude, that's mine.
Yeah.
The pride would say, I started this thing with Ted Hoyt and Shane Downey and Stan Olsen. Yeah. You didn't start it. But there was something that just told me there's no reason to do that. Steve's a man of his word, and he's got a heart of gold. Like so I knew things would be fine and okay. And that's been a good healing for all of us. So when I was going through the shit I was going through last year, last August, I left this house that you saw today, and on August 25th, 2023, with no real plan. But I knew I was going to be on the road for a month. And I took my stuff for a month to go. Yeah. And I just stopped and saw people. I saw my West Point buddies, and I saw Frankie McHugh in Cincinnati. I went down to a wedding in Arkansas. I went to... stopped in Nashville, stopped in Tennessee, other places in Tennessee, stopped in Texas, drove back in Louisiana, went to see a game in Louisiana. Just it was amazing, right? And I didn't get back here till September 26th. But during the course of that tour, where I healed, it was kind of like my second road to Lincoln, right into Nebraska. So one of the stops I had made, I called Connie McHugh, and I said, can I spend the day? Yeah. And she said, sure. So went to her house in Alabama.
Wow.
Where they were going to retire. She's remarried to a great guy, Joe.
Yeah.
And we kind of just hung out for the day. But all of her kids made a point of coming to see me that day. And coming, just sitting, if it was for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, and just sharing the fellowship. So they were so happy because they're big time Christians. Yeah. And they said, we understand you got some news to tell us about. They knew before I do.
Wow.
And they're like, I'm like, yeah. They're like, you're walking with Christ. I said, I am. It was like a celebration that no birthday has ever replicated.
How cool is that?
It was so cool. She shared with me John's purpose.
Yeah.
He had written it on the inside of his Bible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she told me was John used to leave his Bible on the kitchen table every day, along with like socks and towels and underwear and whatever. And he said, I'll clean that other stuff up, but you'll never get me to move the Bible. Yeah. And she said, why? Because the last thing I want my kids to see when they leave for school is that their dad read the Bible every day.
Wow.
That's a powerful piece.
Yeah, that'd wreck me. I would start just weeping.
So for me, I'm like, if it's good enough for a noble man like John McHugh, it's damn right good enough for me. And that reinforced my time thinking about things. And what do you think happens during that time? Like on September 9th, my girlfriend now, Kristen, posts something on Facebook that simply says, great time at the Delaware State game. We knocked the hell out of Delaware State. It was my opening football game. Yeah. So I wrote, hey, I'm hoping you're coming to BC, Boston College next week. I'll see you there. She wrote, oh my God, it's the only game I'm not coming to. My daughter's got family day at Delaware. Yeah. I said, oh, damn it. Well, I'm going to be at this game and this game. She goes, well, I'll see you then. And then I said, hey, what about Navy? And she wrote, I'm not having trouble getting tickets. So expensive. So I said, I'll DM you. And I DM'd her, hey, I got a contact and get you a ticket. Yeah. I said, how many you need? You probably need 2. So I'm thinking she's dating her boyfriend. Yeah. And she said, no, I only need 1. And there's God again.
Oh, creaking the door open, you're like, I'm gonna run right through.
And God brought us together in that life.
Wow.
And that has been, this is the most real, drama-free, genuine relationship I've ever been involved in. Even with the mother of my kids, who's a good person, she just, not able to see like I see. You know? So it's just been great, man. It's been a wonderful life experience, which has led me to the ability to see things in my job, in my new passion, helping people, providing consulting, providing coaching, helping them out of situations with leverage that they've never been able to think about before. That to me is just amazing.
You know what's crazy? And I don't know if it's maybe the sun, but it's just like when you're talking, you have so much like glow to you now. And I've heard you on I've heard you on like Julian's podcast and on Danny's, and it's like the way you talk now, there's so much like certainty in your voice. I don't know if you hear that, just like it's just
Spirit.
like it's like you feel so assured and just like I know what I'm doing. And
I do.
Like, it's very cool to see. It's
I
like,
feel
wow.
that way, man. I feel like comfortable in talking that, you suffer from, and you, I'm sure every one of us has experienced it. I know Julian did with that imposter syndrome. Why me to be able to do these interviews? Or why me to be able to be exposed to people who are, in our minds, are true heroes, right?
Yeah.
And you start to question whether or not you deserve it, right?
Yeah.
The answer from me came, I haven't listened to a lot of Bustamante stuff, but somebody pointed out to me last week, they said, hey, have you ever heard his entire Lex Fridman podcast? It's 4 hours, right?
Who's got 4 hours?
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest, no. And so he's like, well, do yourself a favor. Listen to the last 4 minutes. And I did. And there's a question in there from Andy.
Yeah.
And Lex says, what's the meaning of life? And without hesitation, Andy says self-respect. And I looked at it and I thought, holy shit. That's what I've been striving for the last 25 years, right? That takes care of imposter syndrome. So then Andy goes on to tell a story about this place near SoCon in Tampa, right? It's this elite one. It's this tier 1 elite operator bar. Really? They don't let anybody else in.
No way.
And Andy had the opportunity to go in there, and on the wall, the only thing you have to do, you don't pay for anything in there, right? That's what my understanding. You might have to.
Yeah, okay.
All you have to do is write one word on this board in chalk, and it's just got to be what your meaning of life is. And then you have to attach it just by string or by chalk with one other word on that board. The only word that's still visible on the whole board is self-respect. Because every other word's been blacked out by the number of chalk lines going to self-respect.
Holy crap.
So if you think about that, there's guys that are the best and brightest this country has to offer.
Yeah.
The most courageous, right? The most absolute savage dudes. And self-respect is what it comes down to. So they're telling you, and without telling you, that imposter syndrome has always been part of their life, not being good enough. So for me, just that 4 minutes of time that I listened to, it continues to change my life every day. Working with somebody like Busta, working with his people. He's got some people. He's got Rusty Bridges, who dude doesn't have to work ever again in his life. Yeah. He's started and sold more startups probably anybody in the world, short of some of the major guys. Yeah. And Rusty's out there grinding every day. Yeah. Right with Andy, and I'm part of that. I'm on the ground floor of it.
That's crazy.
So who the hell am I? And I keep thinking, who am I to slow down? Who am I to say, no, I'm good, I'm 60, so that means it's over? I look at my kids, and I want to set the example for my kids, my grandkids. Leave a legacy for my grandson, Sal, and my new grandson to say, like, damn. And I always think about this, and it's a humbling thought, but something I think we should all think about. I know Sal Cipolla, my grandson. Yeah. He'll walk to my coffee. That's one I'm guaranteed. Yeah. With the help of God, right? Of course. But he'll walk to my coffee. What do I want him to say about me? That's my pop. Yeah. And his purpose was, I want him to know that. I know. And by doing what you're doing for me today, the gift you're giving me, by recording me and allowing me to go on and be exposed to him when he's a man like me. Yeah. And say, look at my grandfather. Yeah. Look at him. He's walking on the boardwalk where his mom and dad walked 60 years before him. And he's telling me about it. And I can hear him. And I can see him. Yeah. That to me is the greatest gift we could possibly give people in the future.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
I think
it's just the way it is.
I think that's a great place to close it out because
we're not gonna get any better than that.
That's phenomenal. Well, Jim, I appreciate it. Thank you again
brother,
for
you're
everything.
the best, man. I'm here for you. Anything you ever need, you know that.
I appreciate it. I love it.
You know, I don't like to talk a lot, but we could always do that.
I know we could do another one of these, and I love it because we got to see the area you grew up going to, which is so cool. I wasn't expecting that. I thought this was just some area, but it's no, this is an area. It's so important to your history.
Take a shot. Don't turn off until we go over this bridge.
Yeah,
and get middle through because I want you to get the inlet shot. But yeah, this is amazing. There used to be a ladder like in that corner.
Yeah.
See where that concrete column's coming up?
Yeah.
There used to be a ladder. We used to climb down that ladder, sneak out here, go. Think about this. And my dad was like 9 and 10. Nobody knew. My cousin, we'd snorkel where these dudes were fishing.
You would snorkel right there.
Just like asshole kids. But we would catch. Like we would wind up. We had the old school spear guns. Yeah. So with the rubber kind of harness.
Yeah.
And you let them go.
Oh no way! The Hawaiian sling.
Hawaiian sling.
Yeah.
And we used to catch we would catch snappers. We would catch. Sometimes you get a big fucking striper. Just luckily, and then we couldn't get it out of the water. We're like, this fucking thing's huge. You know, and then we bullshit each other about seeing a shark, and everybody shit their pants.
Get out. All right, well, we're pulling up here. We'll close it out here.
Plug it out here. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Go on the Jersey Shore. They're here. Go Navy. I'm kidding.